Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Steph from the Hot Moving Podcast. And finally, about time, the NBA decides to address this load management crisis plaguing their league, plaguing their business, destroying their bottom line, right? I mean, look, we know the NBA is going to be re-upping for a big, massive TV contract at the end of the 2025 season. And look, they want to do the best to maintain the product on the court. I mean, time and time when there's a marquee matchup, there's always a star player that is all of a sudden needs rest, or all of a sudden there's an injury that no one knew about until the last minute, right? And I mean, look, who are we to question player injuries and all this other stuff? But it just seems very convenient for these players. And the NBA is, look, if you have a star team going up against like the Orlando Magic on a Tuesday night, they don't care. But these big games they got on TNT and ESPN, nah, they can't have it. So reports are coming from Adrian Wojnarowski. He tweeted out, or he X'd out, whatever you want to call it these days. Under the new rules, teams will be fined $100K for a first violation, $250K for a second violation, and $1 million more than the previous penalty for each additional violation, sources tell ESPN. Later, he retweets, I guess, subtweet. The NBA Competition Committee has recommended stricter guidelines on resting players for national television games and multiple stars together in the same games. The league's board of governors expected to vote Wednesday to pass the measures. Good. I hope this gets passed. I mean, look, we know the NBA. We know the stigma of the NBA. It can be a soft league, a very crybaby league. The star players are getting royal treatment, red carpet treatment, and I don't really have a problem with that. But if the NBA and these teams are doing everything in their power to appease their star players, then I don't have a problem with the league as a whole, a governing body, to say, hey, look, we need y'all out on the court. Okay, so guys like Kawhi Leonard, well, let me take a step back. The Spurs are just the genesis of this whole load management nonsense, back in the day with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Ginobili, all that. I remember a few years ago, you guys remember this, when they were big game against Miami Heat. Man, San Antonio rested all their players, man. It was crazy, right? So we really didn't get to see a true matchup until like the NBA finals of that season. I think it was the 2013 season, if I'm correct. And then Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs, he load managed all season, and then against the Suns, first two games dominant, right? Then the next game, game three, he can't go. You know what I'm saying? Look fine, but he's all of a sudden injured, right? So what has load management really worked for these teams, right? I mean, has load management worked for LeBron James? You can make the case. I mean, when LeBron James loads manage, I mean, he's older in age anyway. So when he load manages, I mean, he's good to go for the playoffs. He toughs it out. He plays all his games. So I can see why they would load manage LeBron James, right? They try to load manage Anthony Davis, brittle, right? They try to load manage Zion Williamson, right? This season was kind of weird. Zion Williamson was good to go, but apparently, he didn't want to play due to he wasn't just feeling like it. Like, that type of stuff is gonna stop. Players that want to load manage because they don't feel like playing or whatever, or they feel that I don't care what the doctors say, it's my body, I'm tired, I have an injury I don't know about, or y'all can't identify, and I'm gonna milk this out, right? I mean, a lot of these guys are getting paid massive amounts of dollars. There's been pushback with players and media. Media calls them out for load management. They feel like, we put our bodies on the line, y'all question our injuries, we go through real stuff. It's just a massive disconnect between the media, the fans, and the players. So the NBA is going to have to include these penalties, right? Hey, if you are really injured, I wonder how they're going to break this down with the penalties, because I know they also talked about if you're a star player, basically if you've been an all-star within the past 3 seasons, you are considered a star player. So I wonder when they vote on this, what are going to be the stipulations for games missed, right? So if there's not an injury and it's just simply resting, that can't happen, especially for a star player. And I agree with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, play. Fans generate revenue for this sport as well. Okay, so when we have these marquee matchups, we want to see it. And just because a player wants to take off a Wednesday or Friday night, That's not fair for the viewers who pay for these streaming services or pay these gate prices to go to the game, or these people who travel to see a player that they've never got to see before, and they saved up a lot of their money to play. To come see their star player play, and they don't play. Big problem, right? It tarnishes the league. It tarnishes the brand. It makes people want to check out of the regular season, knowing that they can't rely on their star players to show up in these big games. And they want to just, sit out in low management. So I'm glad that they're a little late to this, and it's going to be rough. We're going to start seeing some fines out the gate. But if players really want their money and these teams really want their money, then they're going to find a way to get these guys out on the court. Everybody's playing with injuries. No team is perfect. Everybody's dealing with something. Okay. At the end of the day, I do believe that, people complain about the regular season being long. Every game counts. Every game counts from game 1 to game 0, right? You need, game 1 to game 82. You need every game to, at least, especially from the first half and the middle half of the season, you need those games to solidify your spot. I get resting players towards the latter end of the season, cool, because you did all the heavy lifting in the beginning. I get that, but if you're in a tight race, every game matters. If you are a game out of the playoffs or play in, whatever, it's like, yeah, those games you took off, in October and November, you wish you would have played them so you don't have to be struggling for your life towards the end of the season. So I think it's a good move from the NBA to have these restrictions for load management. Let me know what you guys think about all this. Thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe. I'm out.